What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So we have a very exciting AMC update to bring you guys this weekend. So what we're going to be covering here is we're going to take a little bit of a look at the chart on the 4-hour time frame, the one that we always like to take a look at with AMC to kind of give us an indication on where we're going to head over the next couple of weeks is looking very, very, very strong right now. And I want to share that with you guys and kind of analyze some of the different key support and resistance levels. And if we are going to see a retest back down, well, what could that level potentially be before we start to trend higher? We're also going to be going a little bit over the Ortex data, a note on earnings as well. But again, TMI and I have put together a video for you guys breaking down exactly what our thoughts are on what happened in AMC earnings this past Thursday. That's going to be coming out in 2 parts tomorrow, so make sure you guys are ready for that. And we're going to be going over the potential for a little bit of a gamma squeeze, or a pretty significant gamma squeeze, potentially coming next week with all of the craziness that's been happening on the option chain for AMC. So again, before we get into all of that information, if you guys do enjoy the information and analysis that I provide for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it really helps us out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people who want to learn. So let's get right into the chart here, and we pull up this 4-hour time frame on TradingView. And what we're looking at here is since that 4-hour cross, we have ran very significantly. Now, again, we did have earnings in between here. A lot of volatility did come with AMC's earnings, which is to be expected around a company, especially AMC, when they're reporting earnings. But what we're looking at here is a potential very significant breakout, and we really don't have that much resistance all the way back up to that previous high around 34, that halt day. Yes, we are going to see some key resistance at those psychological levels, 25 and 30, and there's a couple of levels back in here. We've got 2660, and then back down here, we have about 2530. So those are a couple of the upside targets going into next week's trading week. And I really don't see any reason why this cannot continue, especially going into the ex-dividend date for APE in the issuance of those new APE shares. So what we're looking at here, potentially going to the downside, though, because, again, I'm always going to give you guys both the upside and the downside here, especially if we need to see a retest, is most likely, especially with what we've been talking about, is it's possible that we end up seeing a retest of the 13 EMA on the 4-hour time frame. We've seen a lot of these. We've also seen it come down. Again, back here, we saw it coming down below to that 200 EMA as well. Now, that would be a significant drop. I don't necessarily foresee that happening. But again, this 13 EMA right now on this 4-hour time frame is currently sitting at about $18.83. By the time we end up coming down and testing it, it's most likely going to be above 20. But again, we are still in a very, very, very solid position to continue into next week. Now, I do want to do a quick note on earnings here, because as we can see here, we did have this 4-hour cross up on AMC above that 200 EMA that all of our group was really, really taking full advantage of. This was about a 22% move in stock. Then we had earnings. Now, I do kind of want to ask you guys a little bit of a question, because we've been talking about playing earnings a lot in earnings season. So if I, for the first time ever, came to you guys and said, hey, I think it's a good idea for you guys to potentially buy the furthest out of the money strike and gamble YOLO on a company's earnings, what would you guys say to me, or what would you guys think of that analysis of what I was saying out to the public? I'll give you guys a second here. Drop that comment down below. Let me know what you think. Now, if you have any sort of understanding of what we've been talking about with earnings, your reaction should be, hey, SDV, you're being a complete and absolute moron. As we can see here, when we take a look at earnings in this significant drop down, there were 2 very, very, very solid trades that people were taking. And this actually goes into the RIM strategy that we've been talking about a lot in a lot of my videos. So when we bring AMC to the 4-hour time frame again, we're going to bring it down to the 5-minute time frame. When we talk about playing earnings, there's 2 strategies. There's playing the run-up and playing the actual event. Well, the 2 trades here, first the run-up into earnings, and then when we bring this down to the 5-minute time frame, well, you guys saw all the gains of everybody hitting these AMC calls on Friday, where you see this cross up at open, you see closing candles above the 200 EMA, and it just respects this 13 EMA all the way up until the end of the day. There was some very serious money being made here, and if you held through earnings, you were probably getting pretty scared when this drop happened after earnings. Again, you don't really want to put yourselves into those situations. You want to trade with proper risk management. So if anybody's saying this to you guys that, oh yeah, let's hold through it, very, very, very much consider who you guys are listening to. But again, let's kind of get into the short interest data over here. And again, guys, if you do want a little bit more insight into the strategy, make sure you guys check out that link down below. It's the best time of the month to join. We're the best place to come and learn how to trade. We have over 55 private live streams a month, a full built-out learning curriculum, the alerts on over 450 stocks on multiple different time frames, and cryptos. We've got the algorithms, we got Invictus and Pythagoras coming. You guys definitely don't want to miss out. So if you're interested, check out that link down below. But estimated short interest right now on AMC, 18.78%. Now, average cost of borrow right now, 8.72 with 127 million shares on loan. So that's kind of what we're looking at here as the bare baseline minimums of short interest right now for AMC. Now, when we come over here and take a look at Stonko Tracker, this is where we start to get into the potential for gamma. Now, what we have here is 105,000 contracts that expired calls in the money going into this last week's trading week. Now, that's the potential for about 10 million shares that would need to be bought by market makers if there, one, was a lot of exercising going on, and two, delta hedging. So with delta hedging, they're probably going to be hedging about half of a lot of these contracts, maybe a little bit more, getting up to that 65-75% range. But that's a lot of shares that these market makers are going to need to buy. And again, it doesn't end there. We've got 49,000 contracts going into next week. Now, when we take a look at next week's option chain here, and actually kind of pull up AMC here, let's kind of pull up AMC's option chain, and we take a look at this here. August 12th, there isn't anything all that crazy until we get to 30, but we are headed into that monthly options expiration period for August, which we are going to see a little bit more open interest from. And again, if we keep heading up, we are going to continue seeing people buying some of these options, especially these at the money, in the money contracts, which a lot of people have started to do. Remember, those have the highest gamma, which means that delta is going to be changing the fastest at those at the money strikes, which does help us end up moving higher when those market makers do have to hedge. So that is another aspect of what could help us potentially push up going into the next few weeks. Now, again, I also want to briefly talk about with you guys max pain. Now, again, a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on max pain. I personally don't. It's just something that I kind of take a look at sometimes to see whether or not, okay, this is where the market makers are aiming to kind of finish the price if they're going to kind of come in and try to knock the prices down and make the most money out of the option chain when it does get a little bit juiced. But next week, the max pain on AMC is going to be 1650. So 1650 is the price where the most amount of options contracts are going to be expiring out of the money or worthless on both sides, puts and calls. But again, guys, when you come back over to this chart right here and you kind of take a look at some of the things that we've been talking about for a while with the daily time frame, with the 4-hour time frame, we are looking pretty good. We also have gotten this closing candle above the 200 EMA. There are a lot of things on this chart that are screaming bullish. And it's not a complicated thing that you need to be really micro analyzing over here. You look at the chart, you look at the crosses, you look at the 200 EMA, the RSI and the MACD, and it tells you the full picture. So that is going to wrap up this update on AMC for you guys. We are looking really good going into next week. If you did enjoy the information and analysis that I provided for you guys in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it really helps us out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people who want to learn. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. So I hope you guys are having a great weekend, are excited for next week, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.